Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared RAND, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, August 27, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having our Time for Change call tomorrow night, Wednesday, a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about truth. Some of us we believe that we can master the mind by using the mind. And the truth is, of who we really are, if we just practice using the mind to free the mind from all the thoughts it's been wrapped up in and attached to, we just get more mental activity. Instead of playing the game of the mind, we must choose to start to dismantle it. Let the mind weave the web it wants to weave, yet choose to focus on the light and consciousness within. So in other words, we just watch the mind. And we focus on our consciousness, not the mind, because consciousness is not the mind. And the mind isn't consciousness, which a lot of people believe that it is. This, by far, is the most enlightening and empowering place to be, and will greatly increase our manifesting vibration. You got to be curious about the consciousness. If you think that you know it, let that thought go. It's just a thought, and not actually pure consciousness itself. Drop all ideas about who you truly are, and liberate yourself completely. This consciousness is truly unknowable and cannot be pinned down as something that we understand once and are forever done with it. It is as infinite as this universe, and is here for us to explore throughout our entire lifetime or times. Our job is to gently unfold it and discover this dynamic, divine being that we already are. And this consciousness is the God source, and it is everywhere. The secret to discovering it is in being vulnerable, open, and receptive to this moment. Be honest with yourself about what your experience is, and then let that experience go. Now, if resistance is there, become that wall and let it go. Explore every experience that arises until it is finished. Your life will become more rich, juicy, and full of liveness. Consciousness is not cold, hard, or rigid by any means. It contains a sacred warmth that you'll only find in the heart of it. This love is the love of your essence. It is already inside your heart, right here and now. Just surrender to what is true and real. Have you ever, say, in the morning. There's a lot of things you can do in the morning because most of us don't, jump out like off a trampoline. We kind of lay there, get moving around, and then move out of bed. A lot of the times we don't care to get out of bed because we haven't slept well, which happens a lot, which I hear a lot of. If you take so many minutes every morning. And do it. See what happens. This week, become completely still, silent, and relax into this pure consciousness. Now, for most, this may be the hardest or easiest thing that you've ever explored. So, if you first don't find it, just relax deeper. It is already, always here now. You don't have to look for it. All it takes is total surrender to what is. You just enjoy the ride. Most of us won't surrender because we fear the word surrender is that we're giving up. We're quitting. Right? We're going to lose everything. And I've had these conversations with people throughout the decades. It is a fear, and it is ego-minded, root-based, that by doing that they feel that, if they let go or they surrender, then they're going to lose something. And it's absolutely not the case at all. In fact, you could say it's the opposite. Now, there's a storm. Now, it depends on how we view this storm. Because, like I have shared, it's not like each of us will view the storm the same way. So, we seek the center of the cyclone of life. And there we will discover deep, profound peace. Most of us in this now moment are engaging in the perimeter outside of the center of the storm. They're heavily involved with it. Fearing, worrying, stressing, filled with anxiety, even anger, frustration, revenge, so on and so forth. Now, the mind often acts like a storm of energy and information spewing out all sorts of thoughts and ideas about this world. It can make the world around us seem chaotic, exciting, boring, or way too much to handle. Your mind is like an overused machine that never gets a break and is always very, very, very busy. All day long, it's spinning around its thoughts, chattering 1,000 miles an hour about this and that. It's as if your mind is caught in its own cranks, wheels, and gears, spinning in the same patterns for years that it once created. Now, if you are caught in the whirling mind, these turbulent thoughts can make your life appear as if it is off course. It can feel like you're being tossed in many different directions as your mind can throw out random harsh thoughts at you like, hurry up. Why did you say that? You don't have time for this. Get a real life. Why did you mess that up? Get back to work. What am I having for dinner? It can be rude, mean, and make you feel inadequate. It can take you down these roads of thinking that can make you think there is no happiness inside. How many of us have seen this as we watch? Most of us on this planet in this very now moment live in the mind. Living in the mind is utterly, truly, and completely exhausting. It's a good thing that there are many ways to get off. With each of these thoughts slamming into you, you may notice that you have the choice to react to them or just watch them sail by. By reacting to all of the crazy mind chatter, you will be thrown back into the tornado of life. If you choose instead to sit back from your mind, become the observer, the watcher, you will discover that you can create a comfortable distance from every thought that passes by. Finding this observer in you is where you become the master of the winds of your psychic. Set the intention right now to recognize the personal nature of your typical storm. You may notice that what are the concerns, responsibilities, and fears created by your mind, and how they are truly an illusion. There is really nothing that has to be done. You are connected with existence, and that is enough. You do not have to do anything to be someone special to continue to exist. Your mind may believe that something important needs to get done, or else you will die. Yet this is the type of fear-based thinking that creates those 300-mile-an-hour winds in a hurricane lifestyle. The truth is, it isn't debatable, but you'll debate it with the ego mind, right? You are complete, whole, and truly perfect, exactly as you are now, in this very moment. You do not have to do a thing to be perfect. You were born divine. No matter what happens in the chaotic outer world, your divine inner nature will always remain untouched, undamaged, and complete. Believe this. Just 24 hours and see what happens. I mean, really believe it. Not superficially. Right into the heart. Believe it deeply. None of us, we no longer have to suffer in this storm. We can find the oasis of calm that lies at the middle of each moment. The discovery is to learn how to quiet the mind and reconnect with your divine nature. Now, the easiest way to do this is to remain present to what is. This can be mastered through learning meditation, like this meditation. The more you meditate, the more you realize that you are not your mind and that you are infinite and untouched by any winds blowing around you. I get, a lot of people ask, what is meditation? What is practicing meditation? What does that mean? Well, it means simply sitting in silence and watching the crazy mind chatter as it comes and goes. It is like sitting and watching the distant clouds move across the peaceful blue sky background. Your true eternal essence is the blue sky, and your thoughts are the clouds. The more you observe these thoughts without buying into them or getting caught up in them, the more you detach and find this vast, infinite stillness inside of you, which, by the way, has always been there. Over time, you will be able to recognize the stillness of getting caught in the mind and become truly freed from its grasp. It will be a glorious day when we remain centered no matter what crazy storm is brewing around us. Now, some people will say meditation doesn't work for me. So if you've given meditation a go, and for some reason it just hasn't worked for you, then you do a different way of meditating. You slow down whatever action you're doing and be more present to the experience. It's like sometimes I'll be walking and I'll be meditating. Sometimes I eat and I meditate. You know, when I drink water, I meditate. I know that sounds strange. When I'm in the shower, I meditate. Or, you know, anything, I'm meditating. It's all about training the mind to find peace inside. It will be worth everything in the end. When you have become so fixated on your thoughts that slowing down doesn't work, then it's time to use stronger disciplinary measures. Only you, nobody else, nothing else can do this but you. This is why you hear all this talk about, everything's going to just happen and it's all going to be done. Well, I'm here to say that that's not correct because we wouldn't learn. What do you think would happen if everything was done for us? We didn't have to think. We didn't worry. We didn't do anything. Everything just happens for us exactly the way we want it. And most of us would pick what? Just soft, safe, warm, and cozy. Right? And how long, really, you ask yourself, how long would you do that? See, because we do know within us that we create things. Some of them aren't that great, and none of us are exempt from it. We create it specifically for us to what? Learn, experience. Now you imagine if you took your life, come right now, okay, and you said, okay, so I'm going to shift everything, and I'm going to start, let's say, at whatever age you want to start up, at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I want everything to be soft, wonderful, light, and pleasing all through that time, right up to now. Now, that would mean that you didn't experience any challenges. You just floated, right? But you didn't create anything that would challenge you and you would learn and experience. So it'd just be kind of like nothingness. How do you think in this very moment now you would view things? Would you be completely bored to tears because nothing ever eventful ever took place? We would get bored. Yeah, it's like any novelty. It would be great in the beginning. Oh, it would be absolutely phenomenal. We would be ecstatic. But then, after a while, we would start going, man, this is getting boring because the same thing almost every day. There doesn't seem to be any challenges. It's just kind of, just easy peasy. And most likely you would say, ooh, I think I want to just shift everything the way it was, its naturalness and what I've experienced and everything, to this present moment and be deeply grateful for all of it. Because it's temporary. We all know that. These bodies, we're not going to be them forever. We're in them to experience. We create things, we experience them. Some good, some bad, right? Some not so good. In between. But we experience them so that we learn. You get a bike, right? You ride the bike. You're in a neighborhood. Ride the bike every day. You go. You decide that you're going to take a certain street. You got your friends. They have their bikes. So you all just kind of ride together. You know the neighborhood. You could do it in your sleep. But then you want to. You all decide to say, "Hey, let's go down there." I mean, we've never been down that road. That's a dirt road. Or let's go over here. You know, we don't know what the terrain is like, but it'd be fun, wouldn't it? Because we don't know. Yeah, I know. We know all the blocks and everything in the neighborhood. Why not? Let's do that. Let's take that dirt road. So we take the dirt road, and the terrain changes, and the road disappears. And there's just a bunch of holes and little mounds and stuff, and it gets quite treacherous. But we have fun, and remember it. Then when we go down the roads in the neighborhood, we look at the two and go, wow, this road's really smooth, it's nice. You know, it's not bucking me all the time, and I got to be careful to hit these holes and everything. You see what I'm saying? When we experience certain things that we create for ourselves, right? We do that so that we can experience it, and then we can make comparisons so we can say, wow, I really appreciate this. Now, I might not have appreciated it had I not had any comparison, had I not experienced something else, right? So it's fun. And then we start realizing that I'm not going to stay in my mind. I don't care to stay in my mind. I've been in my mind. I don't remember. Would you ever remember when you weren't in your mind? I don't think any of us can. Where do you want to be? Well, in the heart. How the heck do you get in the heart? By being in the now. Well, what's being in the now mean? It means that you get quiet with yourself. You make sure that you don't have any external disruptions, even if you have to put earplugs in an eye mask. Get in your own comfortable position with your body, and then relax into the body. It's the only way you're going to relax. As we know, people on this planet have tried all forms of relaxation. And the only true way is to relax into the body organically, naturally. Not with substances or anything, but just naturally. Just relax into the body. And then you focus on your breath rising and falling. You're in the now. And you'll notice that there's no noise. There's no mind chatter, as I've said numerous times. There's no fear, there's no stress, there's no worry. It's all gone. Now, you would think that the majority of us would practice that as much as we can. Wouldn't you? Rather than being in this shaky, bakey, hurry up rat race, you know, where we get caught up and we're rushing constantly, and we feel like we're under the gun, and we have to get. And we're the ones that put ourselves under the gun. Nothing now, nobody else does. As we know, and more as we go within, and because we want to go within, we choose to go within, we begin to realize that this isn't a physical evolution with this species, this civilization. This is a massive spiritual evolution, as pure as it gets. And I think there's kind of a confusion in some areas, because some of us think that spiritual is the God outside of us, right? Or, like some of you have probably heard this, and there's different religions, man-made religions, that unfortunately have mind-controlled many on the planet to believe a certain way. But imagine saying, if you don't accept our Lord Jesus Christ as your Savior, you will burn in hell forever, for an eternity. What a thing to say. Is that spiritual? No, that's religion. It has nothing to do with spiritual. Does that make that being bad? No. It's just how they've been taught. It's how they've been programmed. Not the God within them. It's just how they have been programmed and how they believe. So we have always been able to choose. And all the knowledge we could ever possibly fathom is within us. Every one of us will get to the point of discovery as we progress on this spiritual evolution, that we can plug in anytime, anywhere to all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. You realize that the God that you are is literally tapped in to all the knowledge, all the experience, all the everything, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Every one of us are. Well, then the question comes up and says, well, then why don't I know these things? And why am I the way I am right now? And how come my life is all sucky and everything? Right? Well, the answer is because you created it. Now, some people, they get irritated at that. And it's just frustration. It's just, it's frustration. Or it could be love under pressure. But they just get irritated because they know that the life that any of us currently have in this very now moment, we've created. Nobody else has. We could say that through the ego mind. Well, no, I had this and this and this and that. 20 years ago, this happened. 10 years ago, this happened, and this and that. Wasn't my fault, just happened. It was their fault. But we create it. And we take full responsibility for it, lovingly. Full embrace. And see, our best pal, the universe, knows better than we do. That's why when I talk with people, I used to swim. I used to swim really fast. I was swimming and swimming and swimming and swimming. Like it was a constant race, and there was no finish line. It seemed like there was a finish line, but when I would get close to the finish line wasn't there, so you just keep going. It was almost like the finish line was an illusion. Then as time went by, a lot of time, I began to realize that I'm not interested in swimming anymore. So I stopped swimming and I just started floating. And believe you me, it was the best decision I could ever make for myself. Is just float. And what does that mean? It means that you're no longer in the rat race. It means that you're no longer out to impress or convince or move or manipulate or wear a bunch of masks, as most people do in our society. They wear all kinds of masks because you never know who it is, because they're so used to wearing masks. And then you got all the stories that happen. Everybody's got a story. It could be 20 years ago, 50 years ago. Oh, I remember doing that. Well, how long ago was that? Oh, I don't know, 40 years. That's a story. We carry stories. And floating, it gives us the opportunity to do what? Slow down. Why are we in such a hurry? Does it make any sense to you? We are omnipotently powerful supreme beings that never die. So why would we be in a hurry? Does that make any sense? Really doesn't, does it? Oh, sure. If we're caught up in the ego, mind, and the body, then it makes sense because we've got to get somewhere, right? Got to get somewhere. Got to accomplish this, got to be at the top, or whatever it is that tickles our fancy. We got to be there. And we got to get there. Right? Can't be left out. That's all ego mind stuff because we're afraid they're going to be left out. We're not going to have this. This is not going to have it. And how is that going to be in this? And you can see how all this stuff, this mind chatter, just totally sinks us down. And one day, you're fortunate enough, you say, I'm just going to float. I want to float. You picture yourself. You're floating. You could be floating on the water, floating in midair. You're floating anywhere. Be lying on the earth and just feel yourself floating. And then you feel this like wind or zooming by you, and you kind of look around. You're laying back, and you just kind of look to your left, your right peripheral vision, and you go, holy moly, I used to do that. I used to run like that. I used to be stressed and running and worried and fearful, and I don't do it anymore. You go within. You spend a lot of time within. And it's really interesting. You watch. You're not judging. You're not judging anymore, yourself or others. You're watching, though. You're observing. And you're learning. You know what? You'll learn more from others than you could possibly imagine when you decide to float. Because you're no longer in a hurry to end life. This is what, everybody's programmed to, you're going to hurry to get someplace and end life. You're going to leave the body. Right? So the faster you go through life, to get to that, finish line, right? Come to find out, you never finish. You don't finish. Well, on this planet, you finish this job or you do this and you accomplish it. We know that. But I'm talking about life itself. You don't finish it. It's never finished. Why? Because we're life everlasting. Where do you think that came from? Not the body. We the gods are life everlasting. We are life. All of us. It doesn't matter what you've done in life. It really doesn't. It does not. Yes, you create things so that you can experience them. And a lot of the times you don't realize that you're creating them for yourself. You believe that it's out there, right, in that storm that's doing that. That's, some people say they got a black cloud following them that's been following them for years. Why do you think you have a black cloud? It's because you created it and you keep feeding it. You want the sun to come out and the blue sky to appear again? Stop feeding that. Feed what you want, not what you don't want. The reason you have a black cloud is because you've been feeding what you don't want. And yes, I will say that it is not that easy for a lot of people to say and make that commitment to themselves. I'm no longer going to be in this race. I don't really care to be. It makes no sense. This is how a lot of people just wake up. They just start going, this isn't fun for me anymore. Maybe it was, but I'm not going to do this anymore. So you'll find yourself moving slower, doing things slower. You remember, here's a funny one, before you go into silent time, but You ever been somewhere? Okay. Maybe traveling, right? Or in a line, or doing something. You're behind somebody, right? And you're in a hurry. You're running late. You're constantly looking at your watch, thinking that you're going to slow time, and there's somebody ahead of you and you remember you're in that frantic hurry, and they to you are moving so slow that you're rolling your eyes. You're going. You say to yourself, "You've got to be kidding me! Now I'm behind the slowest." And this I can't believe that. What are they doing? Have you ever done that? What the heck could they possibly doing to taking them this long? So we're consumed by it. And I think we've all been there. But then you find yourself. You might say, well, oh crap. Look at this old guy. He's traveling his car. I got to get somewhere. And he's going like 30 miles under the speed limit. And I can't get by him. And then you find yourself, not the age thing, but you find yourself slowing down. That's what you float. You're not, it's not like you're in the rat race anymore. You're not in societal pressure psyche anymore. You're in the God. You're moving slow, and you're enjoying every single drop of it as long as you can, because you begin to embrace the comprehension of this. May not be in this body tomorrow, and you don't fear it, see? So you become much more motivated to slow down, like the story of the tortoise and the hare. Join you in meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into the body. Focus on your breath rising and falling. Let go of your story. If you're suffering at all in your life, then you are attached to some old story. Retreat. Remember that you are not this repetitive orchestra of thoughts and silly words. Every thought you think is just a limiting idea that can be written down on a piece of paper and thrown away. Who you are cannot be written down, nor limited to a single storyline. This super convincing story which you have going on can find completion when you just give it a happy ending. Let's imagine that you are an amazing movie screenplay writer who is creating a divinely beautiful, brand new ending to this very special story called The Life of. Notice how freeing it feels to watch this new, magical ending manifest. And watch the new movie again and again and again. This is your day to be 100% complete with that life that didn't make your heart sing. Let's celebrate because it's finished now. This new ending is in place, and it will liberate your mind, giving you more energy, time, and creativity to manifest. More amazing experience in this divine, infinite universe that is all around you now. What a great master you must be to let yourself believe in and then let go of this fantastic, fictional self. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, the following morning. We'll return here Wednesday, August 28, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, and a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our Time for Change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's going on out there or in here. Open your heart. Allow the music, the magic to flow in.